This was the slowest March in over 20 years, and some of the stats might surprise you. On the surface, it looks like the market has frozen, but if you dig a little bit deeper, there's some surprising stats that might surprise you. If you're in the Toronto real estate market, listen up. We're going to cover detached home market, condo townhouses, condos, and semi-detached homes. In this episode, I'm going to break down what the headlines are not telling you and how this unusual market can work in your favor. Hi, I'm Kevin Yu from the Kevin Yu Real Estate Show, and we go over numbers and stats that the headlines don't tell you. Let's look at the numbers. Home sales for March have been down, and it's been the lowest we've seen in over 20 years. Months of inventory and a lot of detached homes, condos, and condo townhouses have been increasing, some of them in buyers or balanced markets. But one market might surprise you. Here's an interesting stat. When we look at days on market for condos and condo townhouses, they're still high compared to where they were when we're in seller's market. They have been trending downwards. And here's the good news about that market. If you're priced well, meaning that you're realistic with the price of where your condo or condo townhouse should be sold within 17 days. But here's the interesting stat. Let's look at the semi-detached market's months of inventory. Months of inventory tells you what type of market that type of property is in. We're in a seller's market for semi-detached homes. And as we look at the days on market, most of them are selling in a week or less. So the real question is, why is this all happening? Well, to factor a few things. The media, which like to sensationalize some data, buyers' confidence in the economy and in the market, and misaligned seller expectation. Here's what I'm seeing in the trenches on the ground. Buyers that are looking at detached homes, they're very hesitant right now, thinking that rates are going to drop, which makes it a little bit more affordable for them to purchase homes. And they're expecting prices to drop. They might, meaning the prices or rates, but you know what? No one knows what happens in the future. And a lot of buyers that are trying to always time the market, these are the buyers that miss out. And the other thing as well, homes that are owned by these sellers, they're expecting prices what their neighbor got like a couple years ago, which we know that was the height of the market. And many move-up buyers are confused about what's happening as a whole. So they're not doing anything. And they don't realize the opportunity that's just right in front of them. And there's this weird tension in the market right now. Everyone's sort of just weighing back and holding on to see what's happening. And we know that that causes a lot of markets to essentially look like it's frozen, but it's not. Because you know what? A couple of clients recently jumped on this opportunity because they saw exactly what's going on, and they ended up buying a detached home that they love, and they sold their semi-detached home in a week. You have to remember what Warren Buffett says. You jump on opportunities when everyone's fearful. And a lot of people are fearful right now, and fearful means deals, in my opinion. So if you live in that condo townhouse, or that semi, especially that semi, this is your moment to move up. But you have to do this in a strategic way, especially if you own a condo or condo townhouse. You'll need to sell first, even if you're in a very busy complex. It's just to be safe, because you never know when that market shifts. But once you sell that condo or condo townhouse, that detached home market, there's not a lot of bidding wars. And the ones that are going to bidding wars, some of them are not even selling on offer night. And you can see in this graph right here, the detached home market is entering balanced territory. And this slowdown that's happening on the market right now, use it as an opportunity to move up. So here's the few things I'm watching for in April and May. New listing volume for sure. That's one. Also watching for detached home to start dropping prices. Prices aren't going to be dropping dramatically, but you're going to start seeing some sellers coming to realization where the market really is. And another thing that might change is buyer activity. If we have another rate drop, that might be enough to signal a bunch more buyers onto the market, which makes this buying window very short. So the future market is going to depend on a few things. Buyer confidence, that could be coming from lower rates, what's happening in the economy. Interest rates is another thing to watch out for. And if either of these shifts, these 2 points shift, it could create a lot more buyers onto market, which will create a lot more multiple offers, buyer activity, and then that buying window is gone. And now that detached home that was sitting there where you could come in and negotiate, you're going to have to compete with 3, 5 to 10 other buyers. If you're thinking about making a move, now it's time to run your numbers. Watch what's happening in your local market, meaning that if you're looking to sell, probably see what your neighbors are selling for, how quickly it takes to sell. And that neighborhood that you've always been wanting to move into, start watching that neighborhood as well. See what are happening with home prices and how quickly things are selling or how long things are sitting. I'm here to help if you need a more in-depth market analysis. Well, this is Kevin Yu from the Kevin Yu Toronto Real Estate Show, where we help you cut through the noise help you make smart moves in Toronto's real estate market. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like this video.